So Gamebird, what are we talking about, man?
All right, so we're going to go over Direct and rumors galore. Right now, we have general Nintendo Direct rumors kind of swirling around. And what I love about this most is this is guys, we've been talking about this on the podcast for so many shows now. Despite all the people telling us we're nuts in the comments, we've all been on board with this. But according to Nash Weedle, a general Direct is happening the second week of September. He said on his podcast with Attack the Backlog, it will have release dates for Metroid Prime 4, Age of Imprisonment, Final Fantasy 7, and Elden Ring. He claims they will also announce a new direct from like a Metroid Prime 4 exclusive direct with a date for it. According to Switchforce, a general direct is happening the second week of September on September 12th, which is a Friday, unusual for a Nintendo Direct. Video Games Chronicle has corroborated a little as they note their own sources have told them that the general direct is happening in mid-September. Rumors that may or may not be related to the direct are Nate the Hate has a few out there. First, Kirby Planet Robot HD. More recently, he reaffirmed that Metal Gear Solid Delta is still planned for Switch 2. He also said Assassin's Creed Shadows. Sorry, long week, guys. Assassin's Creed Shadows is still coming. And he also reiterated that Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming to Switch 2 later this year. And he stated earlier this month that Starfield is on the way for Switch 2 in 2026. So, do we think this direct is real? And when around do we think it's going to be? And then what are you guys' predictions for this show? What are your guys' expectations? Is this direct going to be bigger than usual, given it's the first standalone direct for a new generation that isn't following just the initial console announcement? We also have the Mario 40th anniversary stuff that a lot of us are expecting to either be there or be in some sort of separate event. According to Attack the Backlog and Nash Weedle, Nintendo will be having a 40th Mario anniversary direct next month, independent of the big Nintendo September direct. So, guys, let's go to your thoughts. Let's start with Action Jack. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe? When do you think it is? Do you think we're getting the Mario stuff inside in a separate direct? What kind of announcements are you expecting to see there?
So I believe that we will get it that second week of September, kind of what Nash Weedle mentioned. I think we're getting a lot of announcements. If you remember from our last General Direct, there were a lot of third-party and first-party games announced with no dates. There was just a lot of 2025 and maybe like one or two 2026 here and there. So we're still looking at Final Fantasy. Like you said, we're still looking for Metal Gear that hasn't been announced. We saw Indiana Jones at Xbox's Gamescom. I know there's rumors of Starfield. So there's so much that can be coming that we either have heard rumors of or that we know are coming, but just don't have any dates. We're still talking about the Elden Ring situation to where that can still potentially be this year. So for me, I think this direct is geared towards not only the release dates of games that we're already aware of, but then also kind of giving us announcements for future announcements. So whether we're talking about Metro Prime 4, I think that's going to have a direct of its own. So that way we can actually see and get the full details of that game. Same thing with Hyrule Warriors. That's going to get its own thing. I feel like we're going to hear something like a little inkling of what's coming for the Mario movie next year. They're not going to show us anything, of course, but it'll just be more of a, hey, check this out at this time frame. So that way you can get more details and information before we kick off this 40th year anniversary for Mario. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Zelda falls into that category as well. So we have so much, and I think this is a good problem to have too much to announce, to have other than having nothing to announce at all. And then also from other rumors we've heard, next year is going to be heavy with the third parties. So I think that's where we kind of get out of the realm of who has dev kits and who doesn't have dev kits, and you know what games are coming and what games are not coming. So I think we're going to get flooded with a bunch of information but I think is going to be centered more or less around actual release dates, opposed to just announcing anything new per se. And I believe that one thing I want out of this is an actual date on Splatoon Raiders. Splatoon
Sure.
is one of my main IPs that I love. I love
Oh, yeah.
Splatoon. So Raiders, I want to see what that's about. You know, even my son, he's like, "Well, Dad, is this Splatoon 4 or is this like a spinoff?" I'm like, it seems like a spinoff. It's a single player situation. I can't wait to see what it's about. You know, because I want to see the creative spin on it. Because with 3, while it was a good game, it still felt a little off for me to where I still enjoyed 2 more than I did 3. So hopefully Raiders kind of gives that break in between the main number series, if you will, before we actually get into 4. So that's the one I want to see. But I think this is just going to be more release dates and kind of giving the announcements for future announcements.
Totally. I agree with you about Splatoon, by the way. I love that that 2-pillar strategy Nintendo's doing with some of their games, which is really cool. Let's go on over to Sandstorm, man. So we got these rumors. Do you think we're getting a direct in September? If so, when do you think we're getting it? What sort of announcements do you think we'll get there? Do you think Mario 40th will be part of that? Do you think that'll be a separate direct? What are your thoughts, man?
So I think that I agree. There's definitely going to be a September direct. Whether I'm actually kind of more split, whether it's going to be the first week or the second week.
Sure.
I do definitely think it's going to be a bigger direct. I think we're going to get a lot of those answers. Also, too, and I want to put this as a side note, but I really want it to be said. I think you're going to see the actual like Elden Ring, like the finished product at that point in time, or the updated product, if you will, because I don't think people realize that like this demo build and like the actual game are 2 entirely different things. They're not set up the same way, but I know people treat it as such.
And one thing that I haven't seen yet is anyone asked them how old the demo build is.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is like Stash was all over that stuff at the Switch 2 experience. Like, hey, how old are your demo builds and all that? So that's something that we're going to hopefully, because we're going to PAX, we're going to hopefully get some clarification from somebody there. Hey, you know roughly how old this is? It's like 2 months old, 3 months old. You know?
Yeah. I think that's really important. I really don't think that's what they have going on right now. To say, but yeah, I definitely think we're gonna get some release dates for Elden Ring, definitely for Final Fantasy VII. I think we'll also get release dates for a few of those indie titles that we've gotten that don't actually have release dates. They'll of course talk about Silksong one more time, whether it's in that first week or that second week. That's why I kind of lean towards the first week, is also because of Silksong, but that's neither here nor there. I think we will get a couple of titles that they'll show off that won't have release dates, but they'll have like a release year, if you would, which will probably be 2026. Something kind of along what Jack was saying, because next year is going to be like the big third-party rollout. I think that you will get a couple of more third-party titles that'll show up before the end of the year. As much as we think it's tight now, I have the greatest feeling that right after that we're gonna be like, dang, my pocket, it was squinched tight, and they like managed to rinse it one more time to get that extra little dollar out. But I do think they will actually so in 2 pieces. I think you will get something Metroid related, and they will say more information about Metroid. Now, I'm not solidified on whether you get a date on that or not, because either A, you're going to get another Metroid, you're going to get a Metroid specific direct where it's going to give you the release date, but you can also get one right here, and then they'll just talk about it more like how they usually do. Also, with Mario, I think I actually think that's going to come in the form of they will give you the smallest little inkling of what the next game looks like, and I'm talking small, Like, you remember when we saw Odyssey and then we saw the car come up and we're like, what is this? Like, what is this?
Mhm.
What is it? And then, like, he jumps out and oh, it's Mario. We ain't getting that. Like, instead, you will get something super small and you'll be like, this has got to be the new Mario. And then you see Mario in some sort of aspect, like, hello, or something like that. And you're like, oh, it's here. But that's all you're getting. And then they say,
Mario saying hello.
yeah, they say more information
That's the
about
trailer.
Mario. His celebration is coming up, more information about Mario, and a direct coming soon or whatever. And then that's when we actually get more information about both the game and his 40th anniversary. But you ain't get. I'm like wholly confident they're not showing you a whole lot of Mario, except for enough to make you go, and that's it.
That's monstrous. That's monstrous. I'm
Hey,
sorry.
hey, Nintendo is diabolical.
Yeah.
They certainly can be. Eric, thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, we have so much crap that we need to know. We gotta have a direct. It's gotta be soon. So, I mean, it makes sense the first 2 weeks of September, sometime in that area. You know, it only makes sense.
I don't mean to pause you, but what's so funny is you say we got to have one. There's so much that we don't know, but we've had so many directs over the course of Switch's launch. But you're right. Yeah, it's crazy. They've been like popping these things out like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we need more. We really do need more. But go on.
Well, I have a feeling we're gonna get at least 3 more for sure, with the General Direct, Mario Direct, and then a Metroid. I mean, it only makes sense. I'm guessing, the General Direct here in the first 2 weeks, Mario within the last 2 weeks of September, and then probably the first 2 weeks of October, you're probably looking at Metroid. And with the release date, you never know. Showing up probably in either, I'm guessing, like Sandstorm said, probably if it's going to have its own direct, probably in that. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, it's exciting to see what Nintendo has up its sleeve for announcing all this stuff. So, and to watch, we won't get any of it.
I agree. It's really exciting, and I'll get to my predictions after the rest of the team goes. But I kind of feel like we've this half of the year that Switch 2 launched in was like the appetizer,
Mm-hmm.
But we're still waiting on the main course. But the main course is coming, and it's going to come in hot. Let's go over to Thunderstash.
Okay, let's see. So, first off, we've been predicting all of this for a long time.
No.
We already said all of this.
All of it.
All of it. So, and we've been really clear about it that we expect at least 3 directs, right? We got the Indie World, which again, some people classify that as a direct, some don't. I personally do. I think anytime Nintendo directly speaks to us and directly shows games to us is a direct. That's the whole meaning of it, right? It's in the word. So we can count that or we can't. I don't care, because we're still going to get them, right? We're going to get the General. We're going to get the Mario. We're going to get the Metroid. That's 3 right there.
Mm-hmm.
Count Indie World if you want. Make it 4. I don't care. Point is that all of this needs to happen. And this is what we've talked about for a very long time. Yep. Mario's 40th. Got to celebrate it, man. Big deal. It's celebrated every 5 years. Always in September. These are things that we know. Okay. The General Direct, yes, it needs to happen because we need dates on all these games. We also need to see what everyone else is bringing. And we know Microsoft's bringing more than Indiana Jones.
Mm-hmm.
So there's other games, right, that I expect. Of course, I have my handy dandy Excel file here with the possible Switch 2 games list. I was just kind of looking through it. Like, okay, there's a lot here still. There's all the Assassin's Creeds. We already know one of the Shadows. We already know Shadows was Peggy rated.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect that at the big General Direct, right? I look at Diablo. That's one I look real closely at with those mouse Joy-Con controls. Such a great candidate.
Yep.
Doom: The Dark Ages. Again, we've talked about Doom. I think since, I don't know, maybe around this time last year. Maybe longer than that. That's a game that's fully expected because Doom's been on all the Nintendo consoles since Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the history.
Yeah,
Just
long
the whole
history.
of it.
There's other games, right, that I look at. Something like Dragon's Dogma 2 would be nice. But I kind of view Dragon's Dogma the same way I view Monster Hunter Wilds. They both use that same engine with Capcom. And both games struggle to maintain a solid 30 FPS on PS5. So it's like, okay, is that realistic?
Right.
Maybe we wait on that for a little bit. Let's see some other third-party games come out, some other ports, see how they do. Again, last week, we discussed Fallout. That's a game I've been talking about for a very long time. And it appears, we're getting a Fallout soon, be it Fallout 4, Fallout 3, or New Vegas. Either way, this makes a ton of sense, right? To get a Fallout game onto a handheld. And with Season 2 coming out, it just makes way too much sense. So they got to get that, I think, on Switch 2 immediately if they want to capitalize. Not only on the Season 2 of the show, but it's the launch year of a new console, of a console that the successor, this might be the most successful console of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have to see what happens. Obviously, it just had a price increase. So I still think it can happen at some point when things settle. But this is the first holiday season. So, man, you could really capitalize big time on sales if you can get Fallout on Switch 2. Obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I expect that release date fully. Elden Ring, I think I would expect a release date as well because, again, 2025 is the date that was flashed on the April Switch 2 Direct. And Sandstorm, as you said, I said it on Twitter. Nate, you've said it on your videos. The game that everyone's playing at Gamescom. Again, I don't know about you guys, right? But we've all been following video games for a very, very long time. Decades. Since the first E3, right? And to me, it seemed like back then, when you got to play video games early, it was understood, right? That these games are not the final product.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's like common sense, right? But again, I've always said, we all do, but common sense isn't so common anymore. But it was common sense back then that these are not finished products. And so when you present on these products, when you make a video, right, when you do content creation around these games, that you should be telling people this is not the final product. Not going on social media saying, man, this game is horrible. Look at the frame rate. It's like, what? Really?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird to me because, again, this stuff is like very common sense to me. And I think it is to you guys, but it's really not to everybody. And like, I'm shown that every day. Every day I walk outside, I'm shown that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see that. And I think it's in better shape. is my point, than what we're seeing right now. Because again, I think this is probably an older demo by default, because that's how demos work. You have to
Right.
build it out so people can play it. That is not the product that they're working on right now in the studio. I guarantee you it's not even close to that same version. So I think that's something that we still get this year. Obviously, I'm still waiting on my flight simulator Pilot Wings collaboration.
Yeesh.
That easy money, man. Both sides win if they do that.
All I'm saying is if they add the 64 music to the game, it's perfect.
Exactly. I know. I love that soundtrack. You know, there was rumors a while back, I'm sure you guys remember, of Gotham Knights coming to Switch 2.
Yep.
But then, you know, I also look at the Lego Batman game coming out and, you know, learning that the combat is essentially the same from the Arkham games in the Lego game.
Yeah.
So do you really want to do that? Do you want to get two Batman games out so close to each other? So maybe they pass on that, or maybe it comes a little bit later as a definitive edition down the line. Hades 2, right, guys? Fully expect that. Halo Master Chief. We'll see what happens with that. I do think that makes a ton of sense and makes a huge splash. A couple others though. Metal Gear. We'll see, right? It's expected. It's rumored. I've talked about it for a long time. Also, we've seen the performance so far on PS5, on PS5 Pro. I don't know what's going on, but this is actually reminiscent of Elden Ring releasing, and the PS4 version of Elden Ring, the actual PS4 disc, running better on the what was it, PlayStation 5 than the PlayStation 5 version. Makes zero sense, right?
All right.
But again, that's what happened. And obviously it's in much better shape now. So we'll see what happens with Metal Gear. Metaphor, it might be there. Persona's coming out soon. I think they want to get Persona out the door first on Switch 2, which I think that's October 16th off the top of my head. But you got to tell us what's coming next, right? Get people excited. Metaphor, I think that'd be a good opportunity. Mortal Kombat, that's another one. I do think in this Direct we get the Prime news for the Direct. I don't know if we get a release date at the General. I would presume they're going to let us know that, hey, next week is the Metroid Prime Direct, and that's where we'll get all of our news in one show. But you know, Ninja Gaiden, Oblivion, I could see Monkey Ball making its way. It always does. Again, when we went over the history of Nintendo launches in the lead up to Switch 2, Monkey Ball, it's there, and it's a great time. It's a great game. Sea of Thieves, right?
Yeah,
we know that's coming.
Yeah,
we know that's coming. Starfield, again, talked about that a lot. Resident Evil, I think we're gonna get one of the Resident Evils, preferably one of the remakes. I think RE4 makes a lot of sense given the history with the GameCube. Red Dead 2. I want my Red Dead.
Yes, please.
I really want it, man. Yeah, I want to play that on Switch too. That sounds like a great time. Because that's a game you could just put so many hours into. So those are some of them, right? There's other games. I'm not going to name them all, even though it sounds like I probably did. I didn't. There's plenty more. So that's part of that. Okay, according to Switch Force, General Direct happening the second week, September 12th. Again, I messaged Nate today. Like, hey, man, I got a bachelor party that's been planned. It's Friday the 12th through Sunday. And, you know, I'm on a group text with the other guys, everyone else that's going. And there's been discussion about how early we're going to leave, right? And so I said, well, guys, you guys know I'm up every day between 4 and 5. So I'm down for whatever. I can get up at any time. It doesn't matter. Just let me know. No one else has replied as far as what is early to them. Because I don't know about you guys, but everyone defines early differently.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone defines a rush differently. Like when I worked in mortgage, if I ask someone for a rush in Hawaii, that means they'll get it to me in 2 weeks because they're on Hawaii time.
Mm-hmm.
If I ask someone for a rush in Arizona or California, they'll get it to me within 30 minutes to an hour. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's defined differently all the time. So we'll see about that. But I'm taking it seriously the 12th. Okay. It seems like a lot of people out in social media are just learning maybe who Switch Force is for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was subscribed to his channel when I was still a director in the mortgage industry, and I was like catching videos when I'm working. So he's been on point. I think he just doesn't make it known that he has inside information. Like he doesn't probably want to be known that way, even though it seems like he's leaning into that right now. But a Friday direct sounds like fun, especially if it's a big direct, a big general direct, the one we've been waiting for. That sounds like a good time to have it on Friday, personally. Right. So I buy into that. I saw VGC corroborate it. The general direct is happening mid-September. That's awesome. I do value VGC. So the people who are talking, I value. But again, we've already said all of this for a very long time before anybody else was saying this stuff. So take that as you will. Now, Nate, what he said, Kirby Robobot HD. What, look, that's coming at some point. I feel like we got a lot of Kirby on the platter right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we hang on for a second, right?
Yeah.
But again, he reaffirmed Metal Gear, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Red Dead. These are all things that are coming. Okay, jumping in real quick to the Mario 40th once again. Yeah, I fully expect it here in September. Look, the movie's coming out in April. Okay. I think if Switch 2 would have been out earlier in the year, like say we go into this calendar year and Switch 2 is already out, I think they would have maybe started this a tad earlier. Even though they do it in September always, I still think we would have got a couple more things leading up into this, which leads into Zelda, which is why with Zelda, I think that starting at the beginning of 2026 makes a lot of sense. Again, the Hyrule Warriors has that 2026 or not 26, but winter release date without a year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to kick off the year with that, I think that sounds great. Makes me think again that we got something else coming. If it doesn't come out this year, something secret. So I'm very excited to see what that could possibly be. I have a feeling it's going to be something we've all probably discussed here on the podcast. But as far as Zelda and, the 40th, again, we've talked about this a lot. I think what will happen is that Mario's 40th will carry all the way into the movie and then some. Mm-hmm. Zelda will start at the beginning of the year and it'll be, at a slower pace. And then once the Mario movie's out and it starts probably breaking records, then we'll start to put more of an emphasis on Zelda. Again, we've talked about the Ocarina of Time remake first. Even when I was a guest on the Nintendo Prime podcast, I brought up the remake. And I doubled down. I did. I was like, I really believe this is happening. And I said, I have. You guys asked too if I had any reason or sources. I said, no, it's intuition. I know this is happening. I just do. Like you get old enough, you've lived long enough, when things are going to happen. Right? We're all old enough to know that. And so that's something I'm very much 100% looking forward to, because obviously that's my favorite game and I'm very excited for that. Yeah, again, Nash Weedle Attack the Backlog. They mentioned all of this, which is great. I appreciate everything Attack the Backlog does for the gaming community at Nash Weedle. I appreciate those guys. I do have faith in both of them. I don't think they bullshit. I really don't. I don't think they're into that.
ATB is a good dude.
Yeah.
So
I've never thought that about
vouch for
either
him.
of them. I really haven't. I think they're good dudes. They love video games and they're excited to talk about them like we are. And they have connections and they're legit. And when and if they're ever wrong on things, it's because things are always fluid. It's always moving. Nothing's ever set in stone. We all know this.
Mhm.
Things change behind the scenes. So it doesn't mean they have a bad source. It means things just change behind the scenes, quite literally, and that it is coming still at a later date. So I think that's where I'm at with all of it. I'm ready for it. My body's ready. My mind's ready. I'm hoping I can make this September 12th direct again. I'm hoping everyone else's definition of early is like 9 or 10 a.m., which
Mhm.
I wouldn't be surprised if it is, because that's kind of typical.
Yeah.
Right. So hoping to be there. If not, if for some reason it's at night, I told you guys, I might have to call in during the live stream at the bachelor party. I'm
Wow.
down. Everyone else games too, who's there. So they probably be down too.
You know what's funny is I've been questioning whether or not I should preemptively try and get like half day coverage or something for the 12th. But I was also thinking, since I'm missing a next week's podcast, if I should call in, because my dinner's at I've got to go out of town. It's for a birthday dinner that was planned without me. So like, it was one of those things with you're free the 3rd, right? I'm like, oh, I got the podcast. Like, oh crap, well, we have a reservation and everyone's going, and that's the only day that works for everyone. So, but I probably have like 30 minutes. I'll probably call in and just say hi.
I'm
If you guys aren't too busy and don't mind.
I'm gonna
I'll
say
ask
on
what the topic
record,
is.
whoever did you like that is horrible. That is that is not
Thanks a lot, Grandma.
Oh,
You know
well,
what?
I thought of you first, but I guess
I got to add one thing to what I said, just one. And just so it's on the record still. Okay. Because I'm not budging. I'm not budging on this. I know it's going to happen. I know we're going to get Prime 2 and 3. I know we're going to get Metroid Prime 1 remastered mouse Joy-Con controls. I know
Nice.
this is going to happen. And I know what was said last week. I still believe it's going to happen.
Mhm.
And I'm excited for the day that it comes. And it might be soon.
Oh yeah,
It makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
yeah.
It really does, man. It's just it's more than logical, I think.
I was totally waiting. Sometimes when Stash gets all intense like that, I expect something crazy at the end, like a brand that says Prime 2 and 3, and just him just going as he's saying, and pulling down the shirt, and it says Prime 2 and 3 coming to Switch 2.
Like who was it? Was it Peter Moore?
Yeah, Peter Moore with the Grand Theft Auto.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
Always mix that. It was Peter Moore and what was it? Nintendo was Peter Main. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, that was man. Those are the things I miss from E3. Stuff like that.
Yeah. All right, Nate. What are your thoughts on this one? What are we feeling?
So I first off, I don't think Metro Prime 2 and 3 is coming anytime soon. Maybe 2 for GameCube NSO. I think they're going to be NSO games. And there's like conversations out there that Wii might be the next system that gets added before DS. And so then
It's
that would be
gotta
when the
happen.
3 comes. Now, I'm not saying they won't update the games for mouse controls. They very clearly could, because they had motion controls. So, they probably could make that transition pretty easy. But I think 2 has a chance to maybe come sooner than later, but 3 I think is still going to be a while because I don't think Wii's going to come for another couple of years. They like to space out those platform editions and build out the current platform. Which GameCube, we don't have a lot of games on yet.
Let me just say this. This is what I thought about for Wii. November 2026. 20 years.
Okay.
You know, every time we bring up these anniversaries and these dates, we always have, like, it's a big deal, but Nintendo just ignores that it's even a thing. Like almost every time, unless it's Mario and Zelda.
And even then, sometimes they don't care.
Even then, like a 35th anniversary of Zelda, here's Game & Watch. Moving on.
Yeah, we can pretty much count on a Twitter post from like Stealth, letting everyone know it's been 20 years.
Stealth will be like, "Oh yeah, it's been 20 years since this. Yo, cool.
We'll be celebrating it."
Yeah, right. So yeah, look, obviously, you know, I it's funny. Someone on X earlier this week was calling me the direct guy, which I find funny. I make like 30 plus videos a month. Majority of them have nothing to do with Nintendo Directs, but it is a consistent topic at the channel. And the reason it's been a consistent topic is we've had 6 of them this year. I like let that say we've had 6 Nintendo Directs. That's a lot. Now, granted, only 2 of them were general directs, one for Switch, one for Switch 2. But we've had like all these game directs, and I think the game directs are going to continue, of course. But the problem is the game directs always focus on that one game at a time, which is great. But there's so many other things we don't know about. And Nintendo does tend to, towards the end of the year, not just want to solidify that holiday slate and get the hype up for the big third-party games and their own games. They also like to get you hyped for next year coming off the holiday season, right? Yeah. And the only Switch 2 exclusive game we know coming that's next year from Nintendo, or at least that's published probably by Nintendo, is the one by From Software in Dustbloods. And maybe Splatoon Raiders, potentially, but they never really gave us a date. I mean, for all we know, that game could be years away. We have no idea how soon or far away Splatoon Raiders is. I believe it's probably going to be an early next year game, but Nintendo gave zero indication. They dropped that announcement out of nowhere and then just shut the hell up. I'm like, okay, that's weird, but okay, Nintendo, thanks for that. That being said, I do think let me go in the order I think the directs are actually happening. I think there's a better than 50% chance we're getting the 40th Mario anniversary direct first, and it's happening next week.
Okay.
Now, the 35th one was the first week of September. They don't always do it like on the actual day or around the like. People are all like, "Oh, this if the direct's on the 12th and Switch was right, that's clearly got to be a 40th Mario direct." They don't always do the Mario direct around the time that the anniversary is. That's not actually a thing Nintendo does. If you pay attention to when they've done any sort of, and by the way, they've only ever done one Mario anniversary direct that was just about Mario. The rest they kind of sprinkled into other events. But here's the thing. I was looking back on this in a live stream last night, because someone brought up this idea that I can't remember what the idea was, but it made me look at things in real. That 3D Mario could not be announced at a Mario Direct because it's not the right audience, which I thought was hilarious, because that's literally the audience for Mario.
That's the audience.
Right.
His thing was, he's thinking, well, it needs to be, you need to grow the Mario audience, and I'm like, well, I don't think a Nintendo Direct. If you want to grow the Mario audience, you have it at the Game Awards.
It's growing every day.
Yeah, like that's where, if you want to reach an audience of Nintendo fans, you do it at the Game Awards. So like, I don't think it being at a general direct is going to do anything better for it than a Mario Direct one. That being said, I do think that the Mario Direct comes first because, one, it gets it out of the way. They are already kind of starting things for Mario. They already have like this baby merchandise and all, but they're already kind of slowly ramping things up. They just haven't made the big announcements yet, which, okay, that's what that direct is for. And I think it's going to be a pretty chunky direct. I think we might actually see the first trailer for the Mario movie. Like, I think that's legitimately a thing that could happen in that direct. I don't know if it's going to be a long trailer. It could be. I have no idea. It could just be a short teaser trailer. Either way, I could see that being a thing. I don't think they're going to do some sort of like cast reveal for the second movie. Like some people think. I'm like, they already had one movie. They don't need to do like, yeah, there's going to be new characters, but they're not going to do a whole cast reveal thing again, because the main characters, Mario, Donkey Kong, we already know who they are. Mm-hmm. So even though there could be some new main characters, I think those will just be announcements that come in addition to trailers. So I do think that could happen. Obviously, some new Mario Lego sets could get announced. Some new Mario Anniversary Amiibo could get announced. And yeah, some theme park stuff, or like I don't know if it's not gonna be like a new section of the theme park, but I think some celebrations at the theme park, like parades or some other stuff they might do. And possibly a concert series. They haven't really done that for Mario, but they could decide to do a concert series. It's usually more of a Zelda thing from them. They usually do Zelda concert series, which again could happen next year, 40th anniversary. Something that Nash Weedle did say. The one thing that about Nash Weedle is interesting that like he didn't say anything about what is happening for the 40th anniversary, but he basically said there was a bunch of events and it begins in January next year, which I thought was interesting. That it's actually going to be calendar year long. I thought for sure it'd be like mid-year and then you end with the Zelda movie. He's saying it's they're starting in January. So I'm like, well, that makes me hyped. I'm a Zelda guy. So you're gonna start telling me there's Zelda stuff happening beginning in January, even if it's just announcements. I'm game for that. I'm so game for that. But that's too far in the future, and he didn't really have any specific details other than there's gonna be a bunch of Zelda events all throughout the year next year, beginning in January. But getting back to the Mario one, I'm of mind that there's only two announcements that I'm looking forward to potentially in this direct. Obviously, with the Galaxy 2 remaster, that's been rumored for a little while. Just makes a ton of sense, especially because the Switch 1 audience is still their biggest audience. They're going to want to drop something big for them for the Mario anniversary. I think that's the big thing. And what sucks is I think Nintendo is going to do that stupid FOMO thing again and have it be a temporary release. I hate it. But they did it with 3D All-Stars. I got a feeling they'll do it with us. Even if they re-release 3D All-Stars and put the game, it's going to end up being temporary. I just know it. It's just, it sucks. I hope I'm wrong on that, by the way. I want to be wrong on that. Just like I think they might do Mario 40 instead of Mario 35. But again, it's temporary. But then I will say, if they do a Mario 40, what is kind of cool about it, and this is the one excuse I'll give for like the Mario 40, is now I'm going to expect a Mario 45, a Mario 50. This starts to become like a thing you just look forward to every 5 years as like a special event. That I can get behind. A special event, free-to-play game that gets a small update every time with new stuff. That I like. But I don't like this whole re-release a remaster that everyone wants, and then we create this FOMO like you got to buy it now, and then we get rid of it and yank it. And I realized 3D All-Stars was available for much longer than what they said it was available for. But I think what it was they stopped printing copies when they said that. But what they did is they printed like millions of them and just shoved them out there. So that's why they just stayed on store shelves for so long. Because they did take it off the eShop when they said they was. I just think they just pre-made a bunch of them to keep it available for longer. Right. But so I do think that's an announcement that could come because they need something for Switch 1. And you might go, well, what about Switch 2? What are they going to do for the anniversary on Switch 2? I don't know. There could be some themes, some icons, all that stuff. That'll be for all Switches. Maybe they theme the eShop again like they did last time. That was kind of cool. Now that the eShop actually runs smooth, at least on Switch 2, I can get behind them actually theming it, not slowing it down more. Because while that theming was really cool on Switch 1, it just made the eShop run slower. So I'm actually looking forward to it this time because the eShop might still be an enjoyable experience. But I do think they're going to tease the 3D Mario. And you might go, well, that's going to overshadow a general direct the next week. Is it?
No, not really.
They might not even put a year on that thing. I do think they're going to show like a minute of it. I think it's going to be a really slow first like 15, 20 seconds. And then they're actually going to show you some really cool, and our minds are going to be blown. We're like, holy shit, what is going on? It's going to be more than when they teased Mario Odyssey at the reveal of Switch. But it's not going to be so much that we're like, oh yeah, this thing's coming out like early next year to end the anniversary, coming around the movie. And it might be coming out around the movie. But Nintendo's they just want to let you know it's coming, and they want to show you what we've been cooking. Like, it's been a long time. Like, oh, DK, incredible. Game of the year contender. Don't worry, Mario's back to claim his crown. What's been happening with Bot? We've seen what's been happening with DK. We made DK.
Yeah.
We've been cooking this Mario game for years. We can't wait to like blow our minds. I think it's going to be one of the first games that upon reveal will actually blow people's minds that are Switch 2 and like excited for, even people that are on the fence on Switch 2. I think it's because when they revealed like Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, at the reveal, they weren't really blowing our minds with what they were showing. Now the DK Bonanza Direct, that was incredible.
Yeah.
But that's not how they showed it. They showed it as like, oh, it's this destructible thing. You know, that looks cool, but it looks really repetitive. And then you have people play the demos, and Stash loved it. But a lot of people that played it were like, yeah, it was fun, but I was just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Like, that's the whole game. No, of course it's not the whole. This is Nintendo. Of course that wasn't the whole game. But that's all we knew about it. That's all Nintendo. That the Treehouse did extended segment. Like, that's all they showed was like, oh, you're just breaking things all the time. And that's it. And no, it's a lot more in depth than that. To the point that it's probably going to be nominated for Game of the Year. So I think that they want to remind everyone who's the king. We got the Mario movie coming next year and a 3D Mario, and we want to like give that wow moment, the jaw dropper that might even lead to sales like spiking in September, even though the game's not coming out for a while. You know how people go like, hey, we know this early gen. This is clearly going to come out on the system. So I that's what I think is going to happen. They might have some other announcement, merch announcement, other stuff, but I think those are like the only real game announcements we're going to hear. Then you get to the big general direct. Look, we've obviously been talking about this for months. We thought maybe one could happen in June. Then we thought maybe that July one would be the general. It turned out it was a partner showcase. This month, we didn't really have a lot of conversation about one happening this month. Just the indie world at the beginning of the month. But that's because Zach from Switchforce, credit to him, kind of set the table that, hey, don't like expect the direct right now. And September was around the corner. We always kind of expect directs in September. But the reason I think this general direct is going to be so massive is it is the first Nintendo Direct, the first general one of the Switch 2 era.
Right.
We have not had a general direct since Switch 2 launched. And I know that seems crazy to think about, but that was in June. We're entering September. And we haven't had one yet. Normally we would have had one in June, but we didn't. So I think that that's exciting because I think there's just a lot of things they've been holding back. A lot of big third-party games that have been held back. A lot of, like I think the reason that like Indiana Jones even got revealed at, as a game like by Nintendo was, hey, because we've heard like Nintendo's been holding back reveals and stuff. Well, maybe they gave Microsoft the okay to reveal Indiana Jones: The Great Circle at Opening Night Live, because there's just so much to show in this direct. Like they kind of felt like, hey, why don't you show this somewhere else because you might get overshadowed. Like what if Starfield's getting revealed? Like maybe they think that's going to overshadow, for Microsoft, or maybe Halo Master Chief. Like there might be other Microsoft announcements they feel might overshadow Indiana. So like, hey, why don't you just take this game and announce it at a different event? And there's going to be a bunch of stuff. Like obviously, I think for the most part, everything that Nate the Hate put out there, I think is realistic. And should mostly be expected. Now, Metal Gear Solid Delta is the one that I think people are going to be kind of, really? It doesn't even run well on PlayStation 5 Pro. Yeah. I know. We know. We're aware. For some reason, it runs worse on that than your $750 console. Runs it worse than your $550 console or your $500 all digital one. But obviously that doesn't make sense because it's a more powerful system. That clearly just means there was zero optimization and they just slapped, it's probably, they didn't even work on it at all. So that goes to show you that just because it's the same hardware archetype, it's not the same specs. And so you can't just throw things at it and expect it to just be better.
Right.
It's just not how this stuff works. And that's what was the thing about backwards compatibility with Switch 2. Switch, it wasn't magic. They had to put a compatibility layer, and that's what allowed the games to all run better on Switch 2, was because of the work done on that compatibility layer that's still being done. There's still new games that are just magically starting to work every time Nintendo does a system update. That being said, yeah, the second week of September makes a lot of sense. I don't know about the Friday thing. I think it's weird to be on a Friday. I hypothesize that, look, I don't have a reason to doubt Switchforce at this point. He doesn't put things out there very often. And I look back at his track record, and besides one time when he was wrong, all the other times he said a set of direct was going to happen on X day, it just did. So I don't have like any big reason to really doubt him. And I kept thinking, like, why would they do it on a Friday? I know some people brought up, it's September 11th on a Thursday. Well, dude, they've released games on September 11th. It was 24 years ago. I don't think Nintendo's really thinking about that, and especially Nintendo Japan. Don't think they're really worried about that. And even if they were, you just do it the day before, which is also a typical direct day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, there's no reason to do it on a Friday. You can do it on a Wednesday. Again, you do general directs on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So this isn't Why is it Friday? Has to be a reason it's Friday. And it could be obviously about the anniversary for Mario. Maybe they're saving one bonus shadow drop announcement for that Friday for the anniversary. That's possible. It's also possible that there's a major company they're partnered with that only releases games on Friday, and there's a massive third-party shadow drop in this direct. So it has to be on a Friday to fit that company's release schedule. That could be it too. I don't know what game that would be at all, because we're at the beginning of a gen, so it could be anything. But that is something that I found to be interesting. As for like what could be in it, obviously the week of the direct, we'll do our bingo cards and all that stuff. Or at least maybe if it's on Friday, it won't even be announced yet. We'll be doing a bingo card for a hypothetical direct that Friday that we don't even know if it's happening, but whatever. It's all in good fun. If it doesn't happen, then cool. We just save them for when it does happen. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of major big third-party games in this one. I do believe all the reports out there that Nintendo's been very big sticklers with the dev kits. The reports have been too consistent from too many places at this point to deny that Nintendo is even still holding back dev kits. I think I know why, and it sucks for all these companies. Nintendo's trying to control how games roll out in the opening year because they're worried about the Switch 2 getting flooded, and then get buried, and then it happened at launch. Think about the report of, one person told me that our game on Switch 2 sold worse than our worst projected sales. And it's like, well, there's like 21 launch games. They can't all sell. That's too many games at once. They literally can't all sell. Like, people don't have unlimited money. So I don't know who, and that story blew up because they made it, nobody's buying third-party games. Well, it turns out at launch, for the launch month, actually almost 3 million third-party games sold. So, that's a lot of third-party games to sell on a brand new platform in a month. It's just not all of them are going to sell. I'm sure a huge chunk of that was Cyberpunk and maybe Yakuza and something else. But anyways, the point is that, Nintendo wants to maybe spread that stuff out. And what sucks about thinking about that right now is the last couple of months, there's been some pretty, I went over especially in like July and June, there was hardly any new games releasing on Switch 2. It almost was like too spread out. Like, there was at one point where there was like 3 weeks without a new game dropping on Switch 2. And that's wild to me. Not even an indie game, just nothing new dropping on Switch 2. Can't have that. So I think Nintendo is intentionally trying to control that flow, but maybe they went a little too hard at launch. And now at post-launch, maybe because if you give someone a dev kit right now, the game's not coming tomorrow. It's coming next year. Unless it's an indie dev, I guess they could get their games up maybe quicker. But and they have given some indie devs. We know Mina the Hollower coming in October, 120 FPS. You have to have a dev kit to do that. So, Yacht Club Games, obviously they were trusted. Team Cherry next week, they clearly got a dev kit. They're releasing a Switch 2 version. In fact, shout out to Team Cherry. Kind of sucks. I'd like to be asked in an interview why this is, but the physical version's next year. I don't know why it's so split apart from I'd like to know. And it does appear the physical version may be a full game on cart. I'm saying might be because it's not actually officially announced that way. I'm not sure if that box art floating around is official, but there will be a physical version, and they are selling it for $50. So in theory, that price point could include the cartridge. So, but again, this is one of the things that I think a lot of things are being controlled, and I think this is the one where the lid gets blown off, and we're gonna get all those release dates. That's just expected. If they don't put the release dates of the games they announced in the Switch 2 Direct in this one, then what the fuck are we doing? Are they just all the then at this point? So yeah, Metroid Prime 4, Age of Imprisonment, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy, and any other ones that they announced that they don't have release dates yet, I think happen here. But I think there's going to be a bunch of major third-party announcements, and I'll save my predictions for closer to when it's coming out. But I do think that what's exciting about this is I don't think this Direct comes and goes without Nintendo making at least 2 major brand new game announcements. And I don't know if any of them are this year. If this would have happened back in June, I would have said, one of them is for this year. But now I'm thinking, okay, they might not be. I think their slate is kind of the way they're filling it out. I think we already know all the games that are coming out from Nintendo this year. I think we already know, besides a Shadow Drop or like a Mario remaster or something. So I think that there's going to be a couple major announcements, and that's going to also get people excited. And then people are going to start looking at 2026 a hell of a lot different. They're going to be like, oh, we got Dust Bloods. Oh, maybe 3D Mario that looked incredible. Oh, now this one other game. Oh, and then maybe Animal Crossing or something, because that's also rumored for next year. No, not the beat 'em ups. Lie, rumor thing. Actually, there's Nash Weedle. It's Nash Weedle. To clarify, it's his rumor that Animal Crossing is coming next year. So I think that when you combine that all together, this sounds like a massive Nintendo Direct, if any of these rumors are even partially true. So I'm just excited. And yeah, is the 12th it? Is that the day? I don't know. I mean, for the sake of having Thunderstash guaranteed at the show, it'd be nice if it was Thursday. But if it's Friday, it's whatever. You know, the show must go on, as they say. So it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be crazy, and I'm pumped. And that's about all I have to really say on all this, because my mind is already moving to Zelda's 40th, because now that even got mentioned, I wasn't even thinking about Zelda's 40th. I was like, I'm just trying to get to Mario's 40th, and now I was like, oh wait, January. So I didn't think we were going to hear anything about Zelda 40th plans till summer next year. So
it makes sense though, because obviously it's going to lead into the Zelda movie that comes out on my birthday, May 7th. So like it just makes sense for the timing.
And I have a feeling a conversation may come up in the future about me flying out there to go to the movie with you.
Yeah, that'd be so cool. That'd be really fun. I do want to make one point that
I'm coming to this. You won't go to his birthday without me.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm coming too. That's a drive for me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
it's probably like 5 hours. I don't know. I've never driven over there, but it's probably
pretty close. So the Friday deal. Remember, we had that Nintendo Switch presentation, the big one, January 2017. That was on a Friday. I just double checked that because I'm like, I remember being so excited. Like, dude, Friday night, the reveals on a Friday night, like, this is awesome. Felt like it was TGIF again. I'm like excited to watch something on TV on a Friday that's not, a Suns game. Like, it's actual TV. Like, this is really exciting. And I just thought that was cool. There's something to be said about a Friday night prime time versus 6 a.m. and waking up super early, very business like.
Yeah.
I
agree. It's a different
there's
vibe.
something, it's like a more party, more celebratory vibe. And if it's as big as we hope it's going to be, Friday makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd
be cool.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I mean,
by the way, I forgot to mention this part. Yeah, I do think a Metro Prime 4 Direct is going to be announced and dated. They've done this before in general directs. It's not often, but they do it. And I kind of think Metro Prime 4 is coming out in October with Pokemon. So I kind of feel like they're going to announce it for like the first week of October.
Oof.
Okay. Wow.
Cool.
I like that. I'm there for it. Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of what you guys said. Listen, I'll be honest. I think this is going to be the direct, easily the direct of the year, without a doubt. 100% believe it's going to be the direct of the year. Kind of like how I touched on before when Eric was giving his thoughts. I feel like this year so far everything we've gotten has been kind of the appetizer. A lot of the big games that we've gotten for Switch 2 started as Switch 1 games. They're not. Yes, they're Switch 2 games, but they're not those true from the ground up Switch 2 games. This September is a really crucial time. I think there's a good reason why September Directs usually kick so much ass. One, it helps move units during the holiday, but it also sells holiday units, not just for people who want to play the big holiday title, but for people who are excited for what's coming next year. They want to get the deals, whatever those deals may be. I don't think any of us think Switch 2 is going to be discounted this holiday, but you never know. There might be some cool bundles. We know that the Pokemon bundle's coming out. So what's interesting about this one is, Stash touched on a bunch of great third-party games that we've talked about a bunch on the podcast. But I think what's more interesting is the potential for the big third-party games that we don't know about yet, and ones that are still, still being worked on. I'm thinking like Capcom, Onimusha, the next Resident Evil game. Capcom's a company that's done fantastic in supporting Nintendo through every piece of hardware throughout history. Capcom's always been there. Are those games coming? Could we potentially see those in September? That's going to be a lot more exciting. As cool as it would be to get, Metal Gear Solid Delta, which Metal Gear Solid 3 is my favorite MGS game of all time. So obviously I would love to see that on Switch too. But I'm just saying these are like new experiences that aren't even out yet. So is there potential for a few of those to be there? The other one is like on the Nintendo side, yeah, I expect Splatoon to be there. I expect Hyrule Warriors to be there. But this is the time now where we are going to see something, at least one game that we haven't seen for a while. I think Xenoblade is a very strong contender. I'm not going to go too deep into Nintendo predictions because, again, we might do bingo for the direct. But what about something like a Star Fox? This is a series that missed the Switch. This has now entered the dormant territory. I guarantee you we will see one dormant series that's going to have everyone like, oh shit. So I think Star Fox is a good contender for that. And then I would not be surprised to see something Zelda related drop here. And I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so I'm kind of hopping around. The one thing that I'm on the fence on is the Mario anniversary. I think there's a strong likelihood we get a 40th anniversary direct, but I think it's also possible that they skip the direct and they utilize the Nintendo Today app and drop like a 15-minute trailer. I'm on the fence. I'm like 60-40 on that right now. Just because while we did have that one big Mario anniversary direct, it was at a time where we had no regular directs. We had the shutdowns and all this chaos going on. It was just a very unique year for the industry. Maybe that was a really beneficial direct for them and they want to emulate it again this year and every 5-year mark. Or maybe they're like, those were a certain set of circumstances, but we're just going to drop a 15-minute trailer that's got, new Mario merch, new stuff coming to the theme park. It's got a trailer for the movie. It's got that Stash's Mario Wonder Switch 2 edition with added content. It's got that, Mario Galaxy 2 remaster. If we don't get a direct, I don't think we're getting a mainline Mario tease, but I think there's a strong chance that, going all crazy tinfoil hat, I think there's a strong chance that we see a big Zelda announcement and a big Mario announcement in this next mainline direct. Not just that, a dormant series, not just that, something else big like a Xenoblade. This could be, and I hate to get all fanboy, but this is a really crucial presentation. If this one doesn't end up being a home run, people have already had up and down emotions about Switch 2 this year. This is the time to shine. As far as Metroid Prime, guys, come on. We've heard it for like weeks, for months now on the podcast. I'm 100% convinced we're getting a Prime dedicated direct. This is a game that needs it. I said Kirby would greatly benefit of it, and Kirby needs it to understand what differentiates this game from Mario Kart World. That was really important. The direct did just that. Prime's the same thing. This is a niche, like it or not. This is a niche series. This isn't a blockbuster hit for Nintendo. I'd love for it to be, and I know Nintendo would too. It's a critical smash hit, but we need to get people excited. We need to get old fans excited. We're like, is this just Prime 3 again, Prime 2 again? Or is there something like, is the scope different? Is there something that sets this apart? We need a direct for that. I hope they don't do the Nintendo Today route. I really believe that this game deserves the direct. And I have to imagine, given the development time of this game, that Nintendo's like, yeah, we need to have a very big push for this thing. We've been working on it for 8 years. We gotta surprise people. We gotta go over why people should be excited for it. And dude, hell, I know we're already getting a Pokemon bundle for October. Does that bundle come out in October when the game launches, or does that come out in November later?
I'm not sure. It's a good question. Let's see.
Because if the bundle comes out when it launches, I'm going to predict, and I know this is a wild one, but screw it. I'm going to say we get a Metroid bundle for the holiday time, in time for at least December.
It's the same day as the game release.
Same day as the game. Perfect. That's October. Awesome. End of October. I'm going to predict we get a Prime bundle. And that way people can get Prime for $50. And that's going to sell the game to people who wouldn't go out to the store and buy Metroid Prime because they're getting a $50 title with it. So I'm going to want to fence and say that. I know that's a risky prediction considering we're getting a Pokemon one, but
now are we looking at possible 2 bundles? Because I mean, this is still a Switch 1 game. So do we
It's a Switch 2 edition. Not a Switch 1 bundle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because the Switch 1 will be the budget game. That'll be the $60 game.
Okay.
The Switch 2 edition, I imagine. Do we know the price? Is it 70? Is it 20 for the upgrade? Or
Still
sorry, 10 for the upgrade?
Still not
It's not
available,
even available.
for pre-order.
Interesting. Yeah.
So, we really don't have a price for it. That's crazy.
Regardless, the bundle's going to be, at least $20 cheaper, I would imagine. You know what I mean? So, I mean,
do you guys still think it's a good idea to have Deion Sanders come out and during the Nintendo Direct and tell everyone like it's prime time, baby, and like be the one who announces it?
Absolutely, unequivocally.
Only if Nintendo Prime shows up.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay.
That would make more sense than
But you have to wear like a Primal Rage shirt to go along with it. And who else could we get? Who else could we prime for the event?
If Optimus Prime talks,
I hope Nicolas Cage.
Prime. Yeah.
I'd like to see Nicolas Cage as a presenter in a Nintendo Direct. I'd love to see Nicolas Cage walk out with Suda 51 and say, "We've got a brand new game exclusive for the Nintendo Switch 2 system, starring Nicolas Cage." I'd be all about that. And Kurt Russell.
Was it a Game Awards that he came out, or was it an E3? I'm getting blurry on that.
I think it was an E3, but
was it Dead by Daylight?
Yes, it was Dead by Daylight. Yeah.
Dude, when Nick Cage came out, I'm like, oh my god,
dude,
this is great.
Oh my gosh,
It's Nick Cage, man. Guy's classic.
I love that guy. He's one of my spirit animals for sure.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, one of my favorite movies with him was one of the last ones he was in, where he just played himself. It's great.
Oh, Michaela and I really like that movie.
Yeah, the unbearable talent, or the unbearable weight of massive talent. Yeah,
yeah.
With all his hallucinations of his younger self.
Yep.
Yeah,
that movie was
so
great.
good.